Yo, what's up, designers? Welcome back to the channel. It's Jimmy. Oh, actually, I should start with that, actually. Ooh, do you guys remember that, Design Life? One of you guys actually asked whatever happened to Design Life, and it was a brand that my girlfriend and I started. We started a whole YouTube channel, Instagram about it, pretty much trying to sell this sketchbook. What ended up happening was we just learned that it costs way too much to ship it, to buy all these packaging materials, and just what didn't end up being the right thing for us. And now we have a ton of these sketchbooks, which, if we ever see each other in real life, ever bump into me or whatever, and I happen to have a couple, I will be happy to give them away. But that's pretty much the story of Design Life. But I use the sketchbooks every day, and I completely love it. This is not a marketing thing. I'm not trying to sell them. I don't even sell them at all at the moment. But I love these sketchbooks just because. Do you guys hate it when you buy like a nice sketchbook and then the pages in it are so nice that you feel like you need to draw a pretty sketch every single time, and when you mess up, you're like, oh my gosh, I just messed up this whole sketchbook. Well, and I write notes in this thing. This is like my diary. This is how I like to think, and I write bullet points and stuff like that. And when I mess up on a sketch, perfectly fine, flip the page, move on to the next one, because it's not fancy paper, it's just sketching paper, just for you to get your ideas down on, in a visual, quick way. And so I've actually been sketching quite a bit the past month, I would say. Sketching has always been kind of like a love and hate relationship for myself. I loved it when I was a kid. Always draw like anime kind of stuff, animals, people. And then eventually I got into products when I was about in 7th or 8th grade. I started drawing like PSPs when I first got the PlayStation Portable. Ended up trying to design the next generation PlayStation Portable. And then I obviously always drew cars, love drawing cars. And so cars have been what I've been drawing a lot lately. And specifically the Bugatti Divo. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I posted a ton of me sketching this Bugatti Divo, which is by far my favorite car of all time. And in order for me to really truly take in and absorb the details of what the designers have come up with the Bugatti Divo, instead of just appreciating it visually, I would like to kind of study it, observe it, and the best way that I thought that I could do that was just to really sketch it. And eventually I've sketched it so much to the point where I've gotten pretty decent at it, and I don't really need to look at a photo anymore in order to sketch it. And that's actually something that's very interesting that I've learned actually going through sketching this, is that I've actually gotten better at sketching the Divo without looking at it compared to actually looking at it. And eventually you guys are going to see some of like the bad sketches that I've done, because it's gonna bound to happen where you draw it so many times. Sometimes you're just trying to figure things out and it's gonna look bad. And so I'm fine with showing it to you guys. Like this one here, it's just more of a lighter sketch that I did, but I definitely got this part of it wrong. It just looks funky, and that's perfectly fine. And but eventually I sketched it enough to where I remember the details. And this is not an easy car to sketch, guys. Like if you actually look at a Bugatti Divo, it's pretty detailed. Like, let me go ahead and grab this die cast that I have, or it's actually a resin model. But it's a very detailed car. There's a lot going on with it, and I was drawing the Mercedes GT the other day, or actually just earlier, and it's so much easier to remember how to draw. But the Divo, they have all these lines and just details, and you got to get the proportions right. Obviously, with any car, you got to get the proportions right. But I think probably you guys can tell that I don't really have anything specific to say about sketching, other than maybe I'll share with you guys some of the things that I've learned while I've been sketching a lot. And the thing about sketching, guys, is that you're gonna have to do it all the time. Like if you stop doing it, you're gonna get rusty, just like with anything else. Any kind of high level thing, whether it's like going bowling or playing pool or doing whatever, like you get into this flow and this muscle memory, and you kind of just know how to do it. And I like I told you guys earlier, I've been sketching ever since I was a kid, and so you would think I would be like extremely great at it. But when you stop and you start again, like you kind of forget how to sketch again, and you kind of have to relearn. And the best thing I could say to get better at sketching is really just to truly love the craft. You know, a lot of people, I feel like they want to get better at sketching because they feel like they have to, because they want to be a better industrial designer, and they look at all these pretty pictures on Instagram and they think, you know, oh man, I wish I could draw just as good as them. In reality, guys, the people that are actually drawing really well, they just love doing it. Like, they do it all the time, and they love the craft. They love whenever they lay down a line and they have to fix it, or the end result, it just looks awesome, you know. And just like it's kind of just like, to me at least, a meditation kind of thing, or like, you know, just something to kind of like walk away from the whole world. Just, it's just all about me sitting down and sketching. Whether if it turns out to be a great sketch, awesome. You know, I'm super happy about it. Most of those end up getting posted. And then if it's an awful sketch, like maybe this one here, I'll just move on and try again. Like, it's really no big deal. And so here's another one, you know, trying to fine tune it and getting better. I feel like maybe I drew the front a little bit too big here, and then the body is a little bit, you know, too small. And so, and you just try it, you enjoy it, and you have fun. And I think that's kind of just going back to the whole, like just enjoy doing it and loving the craft. And if you mess up, that's perfectly fine. I think that's pretty much the issue with sketching, is that when people are like, oh, I suck at it, I messed up, I gotta move on, or I'm gonna draw with a pencil because I could eventually erase it. That's something that I've actually been trying to teach my little brother, is he draws with a pencil. And I just told him, I said, try drawing with a pen, you know, like, and if you mess up, figure out a way to fix it, you know, like either draw really lightly at first, and then once you kind of get the proportions right, the lines right, where it needs to be, then you kind of can darken it up a little bit more. But it takes a process to get there, you know. But I think that's the importance, is that when you draw with a pen, you don't really care if you mess up. If you mess up, you mess up. You're not trying to create like a masterpiece, right? It's just a sketch. A sketch is a sketch is a sketch. It's really as simple as that. You know, you have an idea, you want to draw something, and you find a piece of paper that you can find anywhere, and then you just draw it. And if it's a masterpiece, then awesome, you have a pretty piece of paper with a cool sketch on it. But at the end of the day, whether it's great or it's not, it's just a piece of paper with a sketch on it, you know? It's only when maybe if you're an industrial designer, you go through the whole process of actually maybe eventually, okay, how do I turn this into a 3D form? I open up SolidWorks or Rhino or Alias or Fusion 360 or any of these kind of 3D programs. That's when you really fine tune things, when you try to make it perfect, you know, because then it's pretty much all determined. It's set. When you create that curve in a 3D program, it's going to stay that way until you manually change it. Whereas a sketch, maybe when you sketch at one angle to another angle to the next angle, they're all going to change and they're all going to vary. So a sketch is just a sketch, is just a sketch. Whereas a 3D model, it's fixed. You can rotate it. It's always going to stay the same, you know? And so as you kind of go through the process of refining and making things look perfect and beautiful, is when you show that through either a prototype or a 3D model or a rendering. Those are the times when you want to make everything perfect, because those are what define how the product will end up being, which is what the user will end up using. So once it goes into those CAD stages, those 3D modeling stages, is when it does need to be, you know, perfect, right? But a sketch, it's just a sketch. It's just a sketch at the end of the day, a drawing with ink, pencil, whatever, on a piece of paper. All right, let's go ahead and jump through this. So again, you guys can see how many times I've really drawn this Bugatti Divo here. You know, this is probably one of the earlier ones. Just trying to refine it and get better. And you guys see, like, I've drawn it so many times. And I don't really know why I draw it so many times, but something about me just wanting to get better at drawing it. And that's actually one of the main things about trying to get better at drawing, is you don't know what to draw, right? It's like, okay, I want to draw. What should I draw? Then you draw, one day you draw like a broom, and then you draw a vacuum, and then you draw a computer mouse, and then you might draw your cat, you know? And then all these things kind of change and vary, and when you jump between subject to subject, it actually is really, really difficult, and you're making it really hard on yourself. So that's the reason why at first I just try to sketch the Bugatti Divo in a very simple angle, a straight on, not too crazy perspective. And then eventually when I kind of got comfortable with drawing the front of the Bugatti Divo, like here I'll show you guys this sketch that I did just this weekend. So this is the point where I've gotten so good at just drawing this angle of the Bugatti Divo that I was able to sketch it with a Sharpie marker. And you guys know, if you ever sketch with a Sharpie marker, whatever line you lay down is what you lay down. There's really no going back, and sure, you could try to sketch as light as possible, but it's still a Sharpie marker. It's still really difficult, but I was actually pretty happy with this. This is pretty much like, I guess, the final test is to show if you can sketch a certain car at a certain angle all the time, to the point where you can do it with a Sharpie marker in a scale that I'm not used to. Like, look how large this piece of paper is. Like, this is what I'm usually used to sketching on, just a regular, I don't know exactly what the dimensions of this is, but it's about like, I don't know, 8 inches by maybe 11, 12 inches. And this one here is a lot larger piece of paper. And it was just really for fun. It wasn't in my setup or anything like that. I just drew it when I was home with my parents, and I just, kind of just like threw it out there. And so I think going back to what I was originally trying to say is that maybe just try to pick one subject, something that you truly love, and then just try to sketch that over and over and over again to where you can perfect it. And when you can perfect it, so it's really all about just figuring out how to sketch better. What are the things in order to sketch better? Not really about the subject that you're drawing, because eventually, once those subjects pop up in the real world, when you have a project that you have to design, a cup or a lamp or a fan, you could eventually bring those skills that you learned with just sketching the same thing over, and then bringing that to those projects. But when you're just trying to sketch and just learn how to get better at sketching, and try to teach yourself to learn the craft, sketching the same thing, there's nothing wrong with sketching the same thing over. And you guys can see how many times, this is actually not even all of the times I've sketched the Devo. If we actually flip through this book, there's many times where I've sketched this Devo. And so obviously with the car, you can sketch it in many different angles. So at first I tried doing the front, and I try to master the front, and then eventually I try to master the rear. And so I think I'm getting a good hang about sketching the rear now. And one thing that I actually learned with trying to sketch the same thing over and over and over is that outside of just trying to create a good proportion, a decent sketch, it's all about just when you're practicing a lot, you're really sketching like the motion that you use with your hand. Like now, when I first started sketching, I was very wiggly and really wobbly. Like my arm wasn't used to sketching well. It's really weird, but it just wasn't used to sketching well. And it was only when I just started like continuously trying to sketch did I feel like I can lay down a line very comfortably. Like the motion of my hand, the muscle memory, the way I hold my pen, it just all kind of came together, and it just made me feel a lot more confident and in control. Whereas when you're first starting, it's weird. Like you don't exactly know how to hold your hand. You're not comfortable with laying down, a nice kind of line and it's confident. And so once you kind of do it enough and you get the hang of it, like it a lot of it kind of just falls into place. I don't know if I'm being clear. Again, guys, I'm kind of just winging all of this. I just turn on the camera and let's just chat about design. That's how authentic I like to record all my videos. But this is just something that I've learned, is that I just got so used to sketching, and laying down a line the way that I want it to, sketching an ellipse to be able to draw that wheel, and it feels really good once you kind of get to that point where your muscle just is so used to doing what you want it to do. And that's definitely one of the major kind of things to really focus on when you are, just first learning and starting to sketch. I think another thing, and maybe even just the last thing now that I want to talk about is when should you sketch. So this is what I've been doing lately, is really just like when I would wake up in the morning. I usually wake up at around 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning. Nothing special about that, guys. Just go ahead and sleep early, and you'll be able to wake up early. That's pretty much it. Like a lot of people think, wow, you wake up at 5 in the morning. Well, yeah, I mean, I go to bed at like 9 o'clock at night. So if I go to bed at 9 o'clock at night, it's already 8 hours of sleep. And then when you wake up, you feel like you've had enough sleep, and then you just kind of wake up. So it's really just, when you actually go to bed. And so I like to go to bed, early, like at around 9:30 or so. I try to go a little bit earlier, as early as I can. Because I feel like I'm the most productive when I wake up in the morning and I try to figure out what to do. And then I think I like to start off my day with, of course, making a cup of coffee, and then just sit down and not think about anything, and just maybe try to sketch a Bugatti Divo. And instead of, I do go on my phone, and do all that stuff, but I think that I try my best not to always just constantly be on my computer, my phone, or social media, because I think everybody knows those things are pretty addictive, right? They pretty much hijack your dopamine and your reward system, and then you always feel like you need to have them around. And so I think those things really take away from the joy of just sitting down doing something so simple as just a sketch, And so if you can kind of just put those stuff away a little bit, don't always feel like you need to always have it around. And if you do, just pull up a picture where you can just sketch and take a look at the photo, and kind of just put those things aside. One thing that I've learned is that with this modern world, the modern world that we're going through, there's things that constantly hijack our dopamine, to where when we try to engage in things such as meeting people, or talking to people, or listening to a conversation, or even sitting down reading a book or sketching, those things aren't enjoyable, because the things that we're doing are just so intense, like going on social media all the time and seeing new thing after new thing after new thing, or just drugs and alcohol. I feel like, prescription drugs, alcohol, marijuana, all of those things, it takes away from the very most simple things in life, because they're just so intense. When you do them, they're intense. They take over your whole emotion, your body, things such as like playing video games, they're so intense. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with these things, but I think it's good to always, keep things in moderation. And if you can kind of take control over these things that kind of hijack your reward system and hijack your dopamine, then you'll find yourself doing things that you never really thought were entertaining, and things will just kind of be a little bit more, enlightening, I think, to you. And so one of these things, at least for me, instead of reading books, is really sketching. I found a really deep joy in just sketching and just putting everything aside and just, sitting down and doing this. And I feel like it's definitely what do you call it? Meditation, a calming exercise, something that makes me not think about what I have going on in the world or things that I have to do all the time. And I just sit down and I sketch, and it's just fun, and over time, I feel like it's a good activity, because then you grow in a certain skill, and it's something that you like doing. And it's something that when somebody looks at it, they are impressed by. I think when you can sketch really well, whether you're an artist, whether you like, sketching, whether you're a designer yourself, you see somebody that can draw well or sketch well, you just really appreciate it, I personally think. But anyways, guys, that is about it. No sketching today. Maybe tomorrow I'll go ahead and maybe try to sketch something, probably the Bugatti Divo. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed my chat. If it was how do I say it? Comprehensible? I don't know. Anyways, guys, if you'd like this video, definitely go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. I really would appreciate that. Also, leave a comment down below. If there's any questions that you guys have, I'll be happy to try to answer them for you. And then also, if you are struggling, need my help at all, I'm serious about this. Like, if you need my help and you want to talk to somebody, I do have a service where I charge $100 for an hour of my time. You could ask me anything you want. I'll share anything that I know about the world of industrial design to try to help you relieve any of your struggles, any of your concerns, so that you can move forward. And my goal is really not to turn you away with that $100, but I need, for you to have some skin in the game. It's really hard to help somebody when everything is just free. If everything is free, people kind of just like don't they take things for granted in a way. And so I need just that $100, which is a very small amount in comparison to probably how much you're spending on your car or gas or going out and enjoying like entertainment, movies, or your Netflix subscriptions, or your coffee in the morning. $100 isn't that much money, but if you think that spending that money in those kind of things is more important than your career that's going to affect you on an everyday basis, you're going to show up to work, and maybe industrial design isn't the right career for you. Maybe we discover after our talk that industrial design is right for you. Then you have an ability to pivot and try to find something that you actually enjoy. But just spending that $100 is a very small fee. It helps me out, obviously, because it's my time. I could be spending it sketching or hanging out with my family. And so I think $100 isn't that bad. Anyways, it's not me trying to justify it. If you want to do it, then do it. But that's pretty much the reason why I'm charging $100 for an hour of my time. But it's something that I love doing. And if I could do it for free and just be able to pay my bills, I would do it for free, because I love meeting you guys, talking to you guys, helping people, and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, guys, what else did I forget? Also, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. My name is Jimmy, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.